Welcome to Where They Wander. We are Kat and Kev, and we travel full-time around the United States in our Grand Design Imagine.
Welcome to Season 4, Episode 4. Join us as we visit the oldest city in the United States.
Good morning. It is our last few days in Florida, and we are heading to St Augustine, and I'm so happy. St Augustine is the oldest established city in the United States. Let's go check it out. Once again, we're going to talk about the National Park Senior Lifetime Pass. This is a national park monument, so with our pass we can get in for free. So I'll put a link to all the passes that you can get up above here, right here. So here we have it. It is pretty incredible. This was built by the Spanish, and it was built to protect their trade routes. Oh, here we have the coat of arms with Kevin, and this is the coat of arms of Spain, because of course this was a Spanish fort. It wasn't actually an American fort. Yes, America wasn't yet founded when this was built, but look at the wonderful view they had of the bay. Now imagine this with nothing else. No buildings, no boats, well maybe boats, but no bridges, nothing. So they had a great view over here of the bay coming in from the Florida coast.
The moat, drawbridge, and portcullis were the last defenses of the castle.
This is the drawbridge, and then this is the portcullis, isn't it? This is the door. So look how thick these walls are. Oh my gosh. Look at that, Kev. Look at the size of that with you there. That's amazing, isn't it? All right, so let's go. Oh, wow, when they were on duty.
They stayed here, but they didn't live here? I don't know.
I don't know, let's find out. But these are definitely barracks. This is where they would have done everything. Eat, sleep, play, relax. Apparently, when it became an American fort, they had to actually do 2 jobs in order to be able to continue to feed their family, because it didn't pay enough.
The next room was empty, but for the graffiti over the walls. They know that this is in Spanish, but are unable to translate it. The tall ship has American flags, which were added at a much later date.
All the different ways that you can ruin the ship, from ones that will take down the mast to ones that will get the cannons. This one would have pitch on it and stick it to the side and set it on fire. This one was just a regular shot, and then you had the
ship,
and then you'd have the grape shot, and then the canister shot. So these would be more like a cluster bomb and a shotgun. Unbelievable. And then you got a cute little cannon. You got a small cannon here, which was a San Marcos cannon. It's called. Here we have Ignacio Gaza. This man was sent from France. He was a military engineer, but he actually was the architect of the fort. Sadly, he died only 7 months after arriving in Florida. This is all the things they used to stuff the cannons.
This fort, Fort Castillo, served as a base for the Spanish Army and Navy to protect the trade routes, and it supplied smaller forts all the way up and down the coast, all the way as far south as the Florida Keys.
Florida became a United States territory in 1821, but when it became an American fort, they changed the name to Fort Marion. And it actually remained Fort Marion up until the beginning of World War II. If you're going to go up to the gun deck today, you have to walk up those stairs. But if you had been here between 1875 and 1878 and looked at those stairs, you might have seen this. Plains Indians that were brought here as prisoners of war.
His father, Francisco Lopez, and in 1565, he was the first father to celebrate a Catholic Mass in the United States right here in this chapel.
In this room, they have a mock-up of the British era from 1763 to 1783. And this bunk would have slept 4 soldiers. One shift would be on and out, and the guys could sleep, and then the other shift would come in, and they could sleep.
This Swiss mercenary, his name is Frederick Haldimand. He faced discrimination. He was hired by England as a mercenary, but he's Swiss. He didn't let that get in his way, and he eventually became the southern commander and he was posted here. He eventually became a knight.
Of where? A knight of where? Of England?
Yes.
So it became
Sir
Sir Frederick
Frederick.
Haldimand. The British took over St Augustine in 1770. However, by 1773, they had actually peacefully returned it back to the Spanish. Not entirely sure why that was. Oh, it was during the American Revolution. Governor Patrick Honin was very unpopular, but apparently he was very good at doing a peaceful transfer back to the Spanish after the American Revolution. This is a storage room. Look at this. I reckon that would have been ale and wine and all kind of things are over here. I'll find out how many men actually lived here at any one time. Because, like I say, during the Spanish rule, they did not live here. They didn't stay here unless they were on guard duty. We're heading on up the steps to the upper section, but I wanted to show you this. I talked about how the stones were made of compressed shells and so on. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? I'm going to go up these steps now. We made it to the top. We are going to go and take a look at the guns over here. Kevin just shot the QR code so we can have a look at the guns. That's pretty cool up here. Look at this. This would have been considered the back door of the fort, and the Spanish built this along the winding shallow channel of the Matanzas River, and all the ships that entered the inlet would face the fort head on and would be able to deploy their guns broadside, because of course they would be coming head on toward the fort. This strategic location kept marauding pirates and attacking British warships at bay. During the 1740 British siege, ships from Cuba used the inlet at the southern end of the Anastasia Island to resupply the town. Knowing that enemies could then use this inlet to attack, the Spanish built this fort to protect St Augustine.
Let's have a look at these cannons. The first one here is called a 4-pounder. It's made of bronze, and it was named La Sibilia, the fortune teller.
I love how all of their cannons have names, like they're warm and fuzzy.
This next one here is a 16-pounder, also bronze from Barcelona in 1743, named El Camillo, the Camelius. This gun was transferred from West Point Military Academy in 1962.
They say that cannons speak because they tell a story. They have the coat of arms, they have their name, they have the person that built it. I mean, all of these stamps that are on here have actual meaning.
Here's the flag flying over Castillo de San Marcos. The Spanish naval ships began to fly this flag in the early 1500s in honor of their king. Eventually, the army began to fly this flag, and it came to represent Spain. It is sometimes referred to as the Spanish colonial flag or the Cross of Burgundy.
Now here we have two chimneys, and the one on the right, obviously you can see, has been restored. The one on the left is what it would have looked like originally in the 1500s when it was built.
This is a 15-inch bronze mortar from 1724. There are a lot of old guns to learn about here. They're all the way around the top of this, and they're just beautiful. When you come here, make sure you come up to the top and take a look at all these beautiful guns. Here's the watchtower at this fort. This is where the sentry would look out for the British ships coming to invade the Americas. Again, the British are always trying to invade the Americas.
What are you trying to say?
Those nasty British. These forts were designed so you could see them trying to climb up the wall from either side. They have these outcroppings where you could protect your fort. People were trying to climb up with ladders. We left the busy castle and made our way toward the picturesque town. But first, coffee.
Cat wants a coffee. So we're going to go in here. This is pretty.
Here we are on the oldest street. It's a pedestrianized area. There's Kat. Hi.
This is St George Street, and this is where you're going to find a lot of the buildings on your walking tour. The first thing we're going to have a quick look at is the oldest wooden schoolhouse in the United States.
It's right up here. The schoolhouse was originally the home of the Ginopoli family.
The home was built in approximately 1716. We know this from tax records. In 1788, the co-ed school was opened, and Juan Ginopli became the first school teacher. We chose not to record inside the school, as it is so small and very busy.
You can go on ghost tours here. There's trolley rides, as you can see here. Oh, and the trolley actually... No, it doesn't come down here. That's good.
This is a very popular area,
Very popular.
and if you're on vacation, you're gonna love this.
Because of the history of this area, obviously it's incredibly popular with school children, elementary age school children. So there are a lot of groups of kids here if you come during the week. But of course, if you come here in the weekend, there's just more people. So just be prepared for crowds, but it is absolutely stunning. Look at the gates right here.
This gate, opened in 1739, provided the only access through the defense line on the north side of the Spanish St Augustine.
Sure, it would have had big wooden gates that went across here. I'm taking a quick look in here. This is the Greek Orthodox National Shrine.
The exhibit interprets the history of the lives of America's first Greek immigrants who arrived here in 1768.
And here it is. This is the shrine. Isn't it beautiful?
St. Augustine was once the home to the Genova Opera House. Frederick Douglass, the world-famous abolitionist, spoke here on April 7, 1889.
Pretty much like anywhere on the ocean. This is very busy, it's very popular, and it has all of your tourist traps.
We made our way to the other end of George Street and into the side entrance of the Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine. Sadly, the main entrance is always closed except for special occasions. This was a beautiful, if somewhat small, basilica.
You can actually take the shuttle as well. I don't know whether it's it is a courtesy shuttle, which is kind of cute. But now we're going to go over and see the town square, the original town square, and then this over here is the governor's house, and we're going to go check that out. Okay, so now we are at the square, or it's called the Plaza de la Constitución. This is the oldest public space in America. This plaza was laid out by the Spanish Royal Ordinance in 1573. Its Constitution Monument may be the only remaining monument in the Western Hemisphere celebrating the Spanish Constitution of 1812. Oh, like I said, there's plenty of tours you can take around here, but just walking around, the architecture is so beautiful around here. And they've done such a great job in restoring everything, and I know, isn't it gorgeous?
There are monuments throughout the square to all the more recent wars. This monument is to the Revolutionary War prisoners. Florida remained a British colony throughout the war and was a safe haven for loyalists. The Treasury Building was opened in 1920 as a bank. It is now used as a popular wedding venue.
In 1837, this was the courthouse. It was originally the governor's house, and now it is back to the governor's house, and it is the cultural center and museum.
Until 1763, the governor's house was Spanish Florida's capital. When Spain ceded Florida to Great Britain, the British governors of East Florida made Governor's House their official residence. With Spain's secession of the Floridas to the United States in 1821, the building served as a reunited Florida as a courthouse, and in 1823 as a capital when the territorial government met in St. Augustine.
Here we are now. This was once the courthouse and all of the government buildings. Now it is a museum. It is the Lightning Museum and Courtyard. There are shops in here as well. This was actually built in 1888, and it was built by Henry Flagler, and it was a hotel. It was called the Alcazar Hotel, and it was designed by his own architects, Carre and Hastings. Flagler ordered it to be built to provide activities for wealthy winter visitors, and it was the center of social activities and life here for almost half a century until it closed in 1931.
Hobbies magazine founder Otto Leitner of Chicago purchased the building for $150,000 in 1947 to house his collections of 40,000 to 50,000 antiques and collectibles gathered from Chicago estates after the crash of 1929. The building and collections were left to the citizens of St. Augustine upon his death in 1950. This bronze statue, Pedro Menéndez de Avilés, the illustrious son of Avilés, Spain, governor, captain general, conquistador, and adelantado of Florida, who founded St. Augustine on September 8, 1565.
Opposite here is Flagler College. Of course, you know, it being us, it's under construction on one side, but the other side is nice. That's quite pretty, look. Now this here is the Ponce de Leon Hotel, which is now the Flagler College. This was built in direct competition to the hotel we just talked about. And this was built by Flagler, who was an oil tycoon. And it was the first one to be built entirely of poured concrete. And it was also the first building in St. Augustine to have wired electricity. Isn't it beautiful?
The magnificent structure was erected between 1885 and 1887 by Henry M. Flagler, the hotel and railroad magnate.
So this was designed by the exact same architects who designed the Leitner. Here's this statue, Henry M. Flagler. The college is named after him, even though the hotel was not. This is now a working college, of course, so you have to be respectful of that. If you don't want to go down St. George's Street, which is where all the tourist stores are and so on, you can come a little bit down the back streets here and see these beautiful old buildings, and the church central is over here. You got the Baptist church and the Presbyterian church. There's a reason that this is a winter retreat, that this is a winter destination, is because it is hot. We are currently at the 2nd or 3rd of March, and it is hot. So if you can come in the winter, we would not suggest coming here in the summer unless you cannot do anything else but come in the summer. But if you're going to come in the summer, come out super, super early. But it's warm and it's humid. This cemetery is called Tomalado because it was once a village of Tomalado, and the village was owned by Christian Indians. And it is now a very old cemetery. But there are World War II graves over there. Those white ones that are upright headstones, those are World War II graves. And it looks like there's a mausoleum all the way at the end here. So somebody famous must be buried here, or infamous. The person buried in the mausoleum was the first bishop of St. Augustine.
We made our way back to the parking lot. It's even busier now than when we arrived. We suggest arriving as early as possible. We're heading back to camp.
We are leaving St. Augustine and the North Shores RV Park.
North Shore RV Park is awesome.
It's full hookup at every single site, and not only that, there is a gorgeous restaurant, and you're literally 100 yards from the beach.
Yeah, if you walk this way to the east, you get to beach. There's to the Atlantic Ocean. There's also a beach on the Salt. It's a Salt River,
right
behind us here, and you can walk over there. There's a beach there. You can fish. You can paddleboard.
So beautiful, and they have a
to.
super fancy restaurant at that end, which we tried, which was amazing. And they have a little less, a little bit more of a relaxed kind of a bar and grill kind of feel. Still pretty pricey.
We hope you enjoyed our one day in historic St. Augustine. Join us next week as we will be in Savannah, Georgia. Until then, we'll see you on the trail.